Starting our recording. Welcome, welcome everyone. This is Vidette Mayer. This is the first Sunrise Sunday that I will be hosting. I'm feeling like it's going to be one of many, but for now, I don't really have an idea of what this is going to be. I have a very slight idea, and I'm going to explain more of that. But allow today to simply be the day that you come in and listen in on this message and determine if this is the collective or if this is the place for you to convene, to learn, to share, to do your part in the world. That is kind of the overarching idea of this collective, and I'd really like to go into more of what the Sunday sunrise or Sunrise Sunday messages are. How they are here to serve you, what it means to be activated, and really going into more of the in-depth changes that are happening in our planet and amongst a lot of people in their lives. First, I want to tell you I am so nervous right now. I am so nervous. This idea came to me over the week, and it's not my idea, and I'm going to go into more of that. But why I'm so nervous is, if you have known me for any amount of time, I will sound different. I will use different terminology, and I will also be introducing the next evolution of my work here in the world. And it's going to sound crazy. And as I said, if you've known me, you haven't known me to have these kind of conversations out in public, simply because I wouldn't want to share them and in the past. And yet now is the time when I have to start to really reveal my most vulnerable self into the world, simply because I can't hold her in anymore. And also because she's got some really amazing work to bring to the world that not many people are doing on our planet at the moment. So it is a weird conversation. It's exciting conversation. It may hit your soul at such a deep resonance, because it could be that these Sunrise Sunday messages activate the part of you that has closed down supernatural gifts, the part of you that knows that you are here to do something big in this world and that hasn't revealed itself yet. And know that it hasn't revealed itself yet in a lot of people, but this is the most potent time in our planetary history of those activations being made. So as we get into that conversation, pay attention to how you feel and how you resonate with the messages that come through. If you or any part of you wants to resist the messages that come on these Sunrise Sundays, it may not be your conversation. I think it will be eventually. I think it's going to be the conversation our humanity collective has to move into eventually. But right now, I understand that there's a small, very small portion of our collective that can have conversations like this, and because they are ready to be in this conversation at this particular time, which is why it resonates. So if it doesn't resonate, this isn't the place for you, and that is 100% totally cool. There's no arguments or judgments. There's no, like, you're wrong, I'm right. That doesn't exist here in this world that I live in. I also understand that not everything resonates with everything. There's a lot of things that I see, and like, that doesn't resonate for me at all. And I know that I pivot and I turn and go in another direction to find what it is I am looking for. This is the choice that you have. So today I really want to be clear on what we're doing here. We are activating over the next 12 weeks. We will be activating the 12 parts of you, the 12 parts of you that make you a multi-dimensional being. Unfortunately, in the planetary history of humanity, there were dark forces that came in that wanted to have more power. They shut down using all kinds of technologies because when humans first came here, we had all the technology of consciousness. So we could create heaven and earth. We could create the Garden of Eden. We could create our own, what I call modern day. Now we're in the modern day. We could create the lifestyle that we wanted. When certain powers came in that wanted full power, they found the ways to shut those pieces down. In our DNA, we have 12 strands and we operate on only 2. So these strands are being activated at this time. And they are reawakening. They're being activated by the energies of the photon lights coming in from the cosmos. We are also seeing the results of that in our outer world with some of the chaos that's going on, because it's showing us all the different places where the darkness has resided for so long in our systems that we couldn't see, because our freedoms had been taken away, so much so that it shut down our supernatural abilities to be able to connect into a higher consciousness, a higher dimensional frequency consciousness that we could connect into and have that higher perspective to navigate our human lives. When that connection gets cut off through food sources, through our environment, through our consciousness, through our technology, through all the different ways that our frequencies can be lowered, it then takes us down out of the realm of being able to tune into these higher consciousness, these multidimensional parts of us that connect into a multidimensional consciousness that connects all beings, all planets, everything in the universe as we know it, and everything is way beyond what we know. We are connected with all of that. This is the conversation on these Sunday sunrises and in our collective. These are the conversations that are going to bring together our everyday lives with the spiritual concepts we've always heard of and, kind of believe in and live by, but we're not sure because we don't know. And this is where we're going to bring the knowing together and really feel comfortable having higher advanced conversations about things that are really, really essential to our lives to know. And that is how to operate in this physical 3D world as a multidimensional being. The sun is starting to come up and I love it because it's not quite the official sunrise over the horizon, but over the tree line. And I've strategically set myself up behind this tree, which is right behind my screen. So I'm hoping it just stays where the sun doesn't beam me in the eye. But if it does, I'm going to beam it to you and we'll get the loving blessings of the sun. So I wanted to just come back to why Sundays, why so early, and give you a little kind of personal introduction to the decision to start Sunrise Sundays. I chose Sundays because for me, Sunday has always been an extremely sacred day. I didn't know it as a kid because I resisted so much going to church. I was raised in a Catholic family, and we were Catholic. I went to Catholic school and Irish Catholics outside of Philadelphia. So we were official. And we were official Catholics in that we went to church religiously and we got on our knees and we prayed. But during family gatherings and stuff, the table at that we gathered at didn't feel real godlike many times. It was filled with judgment, arguments, lots of drinking, lots of judgment. I'm right, you're wrong. And I witnessed a lot as a kid growing up, a lot of disparities in life, in religion, because I would hear what was said at church, and a lot of that I didn't fully resonate with. I was kind of asking questions, but I had to be there. So I paid attention because I always showed up and I was a good girl. So I paid attention a lot. Um, and then I also paid attention to what I saw in my home and how people spoke. And I had family members that were extremely active in their church. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the light in the dark that I saw. Um, because to me it felt more like darkness when anything is said out of judgment and but in God's name. That never resonated with me. So I went on a spiritual journey, and I ended up um, going to a church in Southern California that was I'm going to call it a church, but it was a spiritual center. And my mentor there, Dr. Heather Dawn Clark, was the first person that I could say was like she turned on the light. She activated me. She activated me in a way that was perfectly resonant with where I was at that time. I didn't know anything about a spirituality in like a genuine clear sense, you know. And like my spirituality had so many layers of dogma, you know, of all the ways that make you spiritual. But what Dr. Heather did was take me right into, oh look, I didn't even recognize this, but this kind of looks like the sun, because I want to point down to my heart. I'm like, oh, look right there. Like kind of is the heart with the burst. Completely cool and synchronistic. But Dr. Heather took me out of the dogma and all of the layers that were packed on top of the spiritual nature of, to me, what was Catholicism, into my heart, to where the true spiritual nature of me and the universe exists, and that is in this heart space, in this multidimensional space. At that point, I didn't know that word and I didn't know it. But we're going to really break this multidimensional thing down in the next 12 weeks. A lot of it, I will tell you that Vedette, I don't know what this is all going to look like. When I was activated by Dr. Heather, I went through it's taken 12 years or so, or 12 years since my life kind of fell apart. And for those of you who don't know my story, I was married and living in South Carolina and had kind of the American dream, had the beautiful house on the intercoastal waterway, and 2 young babies at home. And I also had a pretty stressful job and had become really tuned out to the things that mattered. I had tuned out of staying connected in my marriage. I was finding myself, I was becoming more aware of how I was tuning out of being a parent. I was just overwhelmed with all of it. Being the breadwinner at the time, working full time at a stressful job, having 2 babies at home, keeping up a house that had to be bigger. So we added on to it, and it was beautiful. And on the outside, it looked like everything was good, but I was kind of falling apart. And my marriage also fell apart, because when there is no connection and no attention, and one is not tuned in to the frequency of her marriage, the marriage will go sideways, and it did. And I walked in on him with another woman in my home while I was at home, and while my boys were at home. And it was one of the most devastating moments, because I had been disrespected by someone who I had put my full faith and commitment into. And when I commit to something, when I committed to marriage, I did commit to forever. I commit to, at that time, I didn't realize that, that there were options for other ways of being. But in the limited thinking of what I knew about marriage, is you commit to forever with someone. And I did. So when I allowed myself to tune out, my world showed me that I was tuned out. I brought in that experience of walking in on my husband into my life, into the physical, because that's the only way sometimes our one-dimensional or our 3-dimensional minds want to tell us. They want to tell us that we're a victim, that someone did something to us. And in that moment, I didn't take on the full victim mode, but I couldn't fully, comprehend that I had brought this on in some way, this devastating evening. And yet what I know now is my guides just kept telling me kept in my awareness, how did you create this? How did you create this? How did you create this? I had zero connection left with my multidimensional self, with my multidimensional team of beings that are, we each have. I had zero understanding of that. So as I kept having the understanding in my mind that there's something for me to think about here, I was confused. Didn't know, like, how did I have any part in walking in on my husband or having him make a choice? For the next couple of years, I went on a journey, and I stumbled into that church in Southern California, and I cried for I think probably for the first couple of months, because every Sunday I felt the sacredness of the message that Dr. Heather delivered. And every Sunday, she delivered the message exactly as I needed to hear in that week and in that moment. And what I came to learn in classes and all the time I spent with in the 5 years that I was there at that spiritual center with Dr. Heather, I learned that she was simply the channel to a message that was for each soul that happened to be there in that week or happened to watch the recording that we then as a church posted on YouTube. That brought the sacred back to Sundays for me, to get up in the morning on a Sunday and go and sit and listen to a message, and then be able to integrate with that message in classes that I took at the church. It's been my greatest joy to have Sundays be so sacred, a day to check in. But it's not a day that I check in like my family and then check out and go be, not everybody was, but we had a couple in our family that had permission to go to church and show up and play the role, and then tune out as soon as church was done and go live a pretty douchey life and be pretty judgmental during the week, and then walk in on Sunday with a smile on the face. That was not the sacred that I was looking for. The sacred for me, in the experience that I had after being activated by one of life's worst downturns, was going and hearing a message on a sacred Sunday, and then integrating that message through classes, through a community that would meet during the week. Changed my life. So much so that I finally got the courage to leave that marriage. It took me 9 years after that fateful night to change it. And a lot happened in there. I mean, everything does, like, everything happens pretty intensely in my life, I feel like. So those 9 years were rather intense. And I finally decided to leave that marriage. And that took me to a new city in Austin, Texas. And I found a new community, a new spiritual center. And the spiritual center was, they had the message most Sundays that filled me up and it felt sacred. I was dove into the community there. And I don't know if it was a fortunate or unfortunate thing. The fortunate thing was I ended up meeting my soulmate, my husband, my current husband, now my husband here. And we were just perfect resonance for each other. And for that, I will always be grateful for this spiritual center. However, I did start working for the spiritual center and learned a lot more than I wanted to really know. That really diminished the integrity of the leadership. Was not at all in resonance with who I am or who I was at the time. Therefore, the messages that came through that used to fill me were diminished. The energy wasn't there because I saw the energy of how it was created, and it felt very contrived. And it took the sacred out of Sundays. So for the last, I don't know, year, 2 years roughly, I have not had a sacred Sunday with a community. And in those 2 years, our life has, greatly improved. And I ended up getting remarried, and we created a lifestyle completely different from anything I have ever known. It's a different lifestyle. It's a laptop lifestyle. We can be wherever we want. We're in Mexico right now. That change brought up a lot of darkness that I had within myself, and that was then mirrored in my physical world once again. And that darkness is my ex-husband. He is my greatest teacher in this lifetime, because divorce, when you co-parent, does not end the relationship. Therefore, when I started to make decisions from my multidimensional self, because I had that part of me had been activated. The multidimensional self then got activated. And when you live as someone in this physical world that people who have always known you don't know, they make up a lot of stories about your newfound strength, your newfound power, your newfound truth, your newfound bravery to hold people accountable for their words and actions. When you start coming out as that activated self, those who have been around you will say all kinds of things because they don't know this version of you, and that version of you scares them. So they may say you're being fake and you're making up things and you're manipulating and doing all of these things because they're trying to put a knowing onto an unknown behavior. And that, being that multidimensional self in these last 8 months of my life have put me in places in my life that I never dreamed of being. I've superseded the dream that I had for my life. But what I realized is that was just one dimensional self of me that had that dream. And yet there's many, many other dimensions of myself that I'm moving into, that you are moving into. I am here to be activated into that next level of myself. That activation wants to come through me as a message for you and for the collective, for those of us who come here to these sacred Sunday or sunrise Sundays. I can't get it all straight yet. This is so new. Literally, this it's not an idea. It supersedes an idea. This channel, this message that came through me, it says, this is what you're here. You have to do. This is what yours to do now. Choose a day, because we, meaning my multidimensional team, so to speak. Again, I know this sounds crazy. This is crazy talk, but they are coming to me from a higher consciousness, a collective of higher consciousness that has a message for our humanity, that are the parts of our humanity that are ready to be activated. You want to be activated because you're feeling this gnawing urge to do something, to have some meaning. I'm going to go back to another page here so I stay on track. If you were like me, I'm feeling an urgency like never ever before to start to make change in the world. And it goes beyond picking up trash and doing, like we're still doing all the things that we've ever done, we being meaning as a family. But it is now or never that we make a grand shift in how we operate in humanity, because we have we are watching right now. We are watching the dissolution of the soul in humanity, and that is being replaced by technology. Technology is now telling us what to think, what to eat, where to go, monitoring all of our calls, monitoring our, with the watches, monitoring our heart rates. They know every single thing that we are needing so that it can be technologically suggested for us so that we go do that. And it keeps us in this cycle of following the ideas and the motivations of others, which have agendas for financial gain, for power, and it's all of the lower frequencied intentions of power, because the lower frequencies of intentions take away from others. They pull energy from others in order to elevate their own energy. That's one direction that we are in, and we can see evidence of that. We can see evidence of that. We can see it in the stories around the pandemic. We can see, we know, we know there are conglomerates of organizations that own farms that are taking out local farmers. They're taking over the way in which we manufacture food. We have pharmaceutical companies and fertilizer companies that are that are blending in with these different industries to start to give us biological, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, to give us biological pivots of who we are, changing our biology, taking us further away from soul. But there is a subset of souls that are here in this time that are really feeling the call to change all of that, because this is getting really painful to watch. And many people have not yet been activated. Therefore, they are still operating in that, not knowing any different. And there are those of us who have done our work in different ways. In my own experience, the work came with spiritually increasing my knowledge, and through meditation, through classes, through my sacred Sundays with Dr. Heather. I also turned to creativity and music. I started I journaled. I journaled all the time, and that's how the journaling was where I started to really get into the connection with my guides. And I started to cleanse that channel of all of the muck that was built up from a lifetime of saying that, only priests talk to God. Only, you have to be a certain somebody in order to talk to God. And if you want to talk to God, you got to go to him, and then he'll tell me how many prayers to say, and then God will forgive you. That all went away, the belief in all of that, when just the simple practice of journaling every day opened up into a channel of communication and guidance for me when I was in some of the darkest times of my life. At this point, I am here now to be a channel for messages for those of you and for myself, the part of me that's ready to elevate into the next multidimensional version of myself with you. For those of you who are now saying, yeah, that whole rat race thing, that like going in circles just to stay blind, is no longer where I want to be, but I don't know where to be. This might be the conversation for you, because this is for all of those, like the healers of the world. If you hear background noise, there are streets around us. So like the world is coming to life in many different ways. So I'm hearing more and more activity around me. If you are a healer, or you're an empath, you're visionary in that you see things, you see perspectives that others just don't. That has always been me. I've always been a visionary, not because I'm so smart and I have all these important things to say. I've been a visionary in that I can transcend where I am. I have always been able to connect to that multidimensional me, but I didn't understand it. So I didn't know that's what was happening, but I've always been able to see different perspectives where, so life has boggled my mind because I'm like, why is everybody acting like that? Or why are they saying that? Don't they see this? You are a visionary. If you see life in a very, very unique and different way, this means that you're an advanced soul. Okay. This doesn't make you any better than anyone else. It simply means that you are advanced simply because you're still connected to that really, you have that sensitivity to be able to sense your soul. And your soul is now screaming, and you hear her, whether you're male or female, you hear her so clearly now, but not clear enough that you feel there's still a lot of gunk, in your own channel. In my own channel, I still have gunk that I'm here to clear away. And I do that now. The elevation of me journaling out to clear the gunk, the evolution of that for me is to clear my channel by understanding how to speak what my guides are telling, or not telling me, to speak the message that my guides are sending through me into the world. I've never been good about doing that and putting words to it. So this is how I clear more gunk. I get to clear off the gunk of the belief that, oh, I'm a channel, but I have to write it. Now they're asking me to be a channel so that I can speak it into existence quickly. But here's the thing, they won't give me the entire, every Sunday sunrise talk so I can prepare and learn and go find something that I can share with you. They're saying, no, we are going to cover things that you know nothing about, and you're not going to know what we're covering until that week, because that is how you clear the gunk of having to know. I have to speak what is unknown to me, which is extremely uncomfortable. But in order for me to do that, I know that it's help activating someone else who is also a mission soul. Your mission is coming online. If you feel like you haven't belonged in this world, I'm going through the page that explains what this all is. This might sound familiar, but we need to hear this again. We, meaning me too. If you've always felt like you didn't belong here on earth, it's because you are there. You are here. They say there because they are not in our 3D world. They exist in a different dimension, which we're going to talk about. We're going to take the weird out of that in our You Collective. They are saying you are here in this moment to create a new earth. You are here to create this new earth outside of everything that we've been living. This new earth is created in new systems, in community, in a collective that has the good and highest good of all humanity in their minds. They create from the place of, how do I serve myself as well as serving others? How do I trade my services? How do I give of myself, knowing that what I give will be returned in some way? How do we transcend? I have to go be this so I can get paid to be this, and then pay for that and pay for this. How do we move into an energy flow of creating this new earth and supersede the systems that we have been ingrained in? It blows my mind as to what this is going to look like and how this is going to be. But what I know in my soul is that there is the possibility of an abundant and thriving life and lifestyle for every single person in humanity. And if there is a way that that can come into fruition, I want to be part of it, which is what this is. So if you want to be a part of that, you are here to be a pioneer of this new world, this new earth, this pivot from what we've been living in to a few degrees of frequency difference. Is going to make all the difference in your lifestyle, in the health of who you are, in your multi-dimensional self. This is where creating this earth is is adding to your soul's ascension, to your soul's evolution into higher timelines of existence. We're going to break all of that language down, and we are going to make it non-weird. It's not weird when we really get to the crux of what we're talking about here. It's not weird because you already know it. You know it in different forms. You know it in different ways in which it has come into your life. But it being the multidimensional self of how you live, we're going to put that in different terminology so it completely activates those parts of you, and it uses terminology and sounds and shifts that aren't going to be understood by the mind. When we do activations, when we are activating ourselves, we are activating from the quantum realm of existence. It's an energetic frequency, and energy shifts many different ways. We can shift any energy with words, with actions, with behaviors, with thoughts, with sounds, snaps, tones. There are many, many different ways to anchor in a frequency, to tune into a frequency. So as we complete today with an activation of our collective consciousness, I will use different sounds. I will use different things that might be weird to your mind. But we are not working on the level of mind here in this collective. We are working in the level of consciousness. And we have never been taught in our culture, in this 3D world of, tangled webs, and keep us going like this, so that we don't really, we're too busy to notice like how unhealthy it all is. So over here, we're not taught the consciousness and the frequency states of being. We are not taught about our multidimensionality. That has been taken out of many of our traditional ways simply because it keeps our power down. When we live from our multidimensional place, our multidimensional selves, we take back our power. We are sovereign beings, and we are going to break that down into 12 universal laws to take back your sovereignty in these next 12 weeks. Why 12? I wrote them down. So, because it's all extremely beautiful. That bird's coding us right now. Each one of you is being called right now. You're feeling the urgency because you have a specific code to bring into the world. You are here to share your code, your message, to help increase the coding and the frequency of our collective consciousness, which is all connected through energetic consciousness. You being in your sovereign power is the only way to clearly bring those codes into your reality, into your world, which then connects into the energetic grid of the world we are creating. That is why throughout these next 12 weeks, we are going to activate all the different multidimensional parts of you, 12 of them, that coincide with the 12 universal laws of sovereign power. You also have 12 chakras. We're taught here in the 3D world, we've got, the 7, but we have 5 more that are in our multi-dimensional space. We also have 12 dimensional realities. They go up to the 12D. 12D, 12th dimension, is the frequency and the consciousness of Jesus Christ, the Christ consciousness, the God consciousness. Right now, we are at the 3D level. Some of us here, if you are here, you are probably in the 4D level. We are going to go into all of that. We are going to activate your multidimensional self. Next Sunday, I'm actually going to give you a sneak peek of that in 2 days. So just watch your emails if you're on our email list. But next week, as a collective, we are going to activate our multidimensional selves and step into a whole new realm of existence where we will break down the different dimensions that you live in right here in your physical body, the 3D, 4D, and we are ascending into levels of the 5D, which is where our soul consciousness lives. It is not a physical thing because 5D frequency is typically not a physical frequency. However, it is now for the first time available because of the orbit of our planet. The 5D frequency is now available to conscious frequency is available in the 3D world. So this is where we are straddling two very big worlds right now. We are very much anchored in this 3D world, but our consciousness is being lifted up into this 5D world. And for those of us who are here, we want to understand that a little bit more. We want to understand, what are we stepping into? What are we creating? That is going to be revealed throughout these next 12 weeks. Vedette, I don't really know what these next 12 weeks are going to look like. It literally will be brought in. I'm going to try to be outside because I want to bring the elements to these activations. We've got the breeze here, we've got the sun, I've got a pool back there with water, and I am grounded here on the earth during these activations. For me, channeling through is wide open when I am in nature. So I will most likely be doing these out in nature. So there might be some things that happen behind me. But these activations are going to be activating you, your mission, your sovereignty. It's going to increase our frequency so we get higher into those realms, closer to that 5D frequency. We've got photon light flooding in, measured by the Schumann resonance. So that is all being helped. We are being helped in this potent energetic time to activate and ascend into higher levels of ourselves. And we're going to do that as a collective here. What I would like to do is simply activate our collective consciousness on this first week. Next week, we're going to go into really you, into the multi-dimensional you. We're going to activate that as a collective. But right now, I want to pull in and understand more the collective consciousness that we are creating here. Because if your soul is here and you are watching this, that means, let me go back to my screen. You're watching this, that means your higher self, your multidimensional self has called mine, so to speak, and we're getting together. So whether you're here in, live, or you are going to watch a recording, our souls work together to come together to hear this message together. So you are here to help create this collective. So we are going to go into quantum right now, and we're going to start to create the consciousness that becomes the Sunrise Sundays collective. Okay, have some water. I'm going to drink a little bit of water here. Okay. I kind of want to be in the sun when I do this. It's probably going to be hot, but all right. Okay, so again, I want you to get grounded, get your feet on the ground if you can. Just uncross everything, just be loose. I'm going to remind you that I'm going to use different sounds and tones. Mudras, also hand gestures, also, actually, I'm not going to do the sun because it's too distracting. Hand gestures also move energy. So as I'm working and doing things, I'm also working in the quantum, kind of moving energy around. So again, weird, but we are going to be kind of breaking this down over the next 12 weeks. So so bear with me. Okay, taking a real deep breath just to clear out all the stuff of life. So wherever you are, just tuning in to the sound of my voice. allowing yourself to come together, expanding the architecture. Allowing the element of wind to come in to blow away any resistance, any discomfort, any sadness, grief, joy, anger, anything that just simply might be in the way at the moment, mucking up any and all of your heart space, any and all of your mind space, any and all of your spiritual space and your channel. We just simply call in higher beings of light. And these beings of light are of the highest frequency and the highest and best good of all on this call and any recordings that they may join in the future. All the consciousness is coming together to hear this message, purging all outdated, allowing all of the outdated emotions, old versions of this consciousness, of this collective to fall out in the moment, allowing us to be clear vessels in this moment, right here, right now. Expanding the architecture even more, calling in the white beam of light to come in. Now imagining in your mind, bringing your attention to your mind, I want you to bring a really big, deep breath from your mind in through your nose and blow it out. Every breath cleansing and clearing the chakra portal to the higher realms. Taking a deep breath from your belly area and blowing it out. Imagining a red cord going down from your tailbone down into the crystal core of earth, anchoring you into this 3D version of yourself. And now taking a breath into your heart space, clearing it out, connecting you into the 4D collective, and bringing your attention to your crown chakra, imagining a white tunnel beam of light going up from your chakra all the way up, 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 up into your star soul, into your soul star. And yes, you do have a soul star. Allowing any ideas, any thoughts, any ideas at all of anything being weird, we allow that to just simply purge from your system. As we get a new upgrade, we are transcending weird into what is normal for the subset of this collective that is coming together for this conscious activation, bringing all of these consciousnesses together in our energetic egg. I'm going to call it an egg. It's a golden egg that surrounds the collective of souls that are here in this presence, in this consciousness, whether live or whether on a recording. Each soul is called in this collective, and we surround this collective in this golden, beautiful, protective egg, protecting us from any kind of outside radiation, any kind of outside frequencies that are lower than our normal activated, elevated frequency. We allow those to drop out of your field. Taking a deep breath, breathing in. Now bringing your breath into a conscious awareness and breathing from your mind, your heart, and your belly. Taking a very deep breath in from all three of those places and blowing into the collective consciousness of our golden egg. Blowing the energies of our integrated multidimensional selves into this golden egg. Our collective is growing. It's growing in that it is our 3D selves, our 4D selves, as well as our 5D selves coming together in a higher consciousness in a quantum field. Each one of our 5D selves is associated with a higher dimensional team of guidance. Each one of these individual souls has a team missioned to guide them into their own 3D missioned expression. multi-dimensional expression. Every one of these teams comes together. So as you can see or feel or sense, or maybe you don't get any of it, but know in your mind that every one of the souls in this collective and their teams creates an exponentially large consciousness, all with the same intention of activating mission souls into this new earth, into this new planetary grid, to create a new planetary grid that is here to raise the planetary grid of humanity, to raise the frequency. This collective consciousness is committed to allowing our souls to be used in service of humanity, extending and expanding your architecture and your container to receive the love and the guidance from all souls, all multidimensional beings that are part of this collective within this golden egg. Now, in your mind, if you could see, sense, or simply just be aware of two bright golden pillars of strength surrounding this consciousness, starting to actually activate, turn around our collective. This is our protective energy. This is what protects our collective and our intentional consciousness. It protects us from dark energies. It protects us from dark thoughts, messages, behaviors, patterns, people, energies, whatever it is. If it is in a resonance lower than the resonance of this high vibrational and high light consciousness, it will fall away. It cannot penetrate the boundaries of our protectors, our protective energies. We allow them to simply bump off and drop out of our fields. That leaves our consciousness for Sunday sunrises, for the you collective, for all of us who are coming together with the highest and best good and the highest and best of intentions to activate ourselves in these next few weeks and beyond that. We come together to know that we are here as mission souls to bring our full multidimensional selves into the realities of the 3D world, to start to shift and to shift and to shift and to shift and to elevate and expand and multiply all that brings joy, peace, love, abundance, and a thriving lifestyle to everyone we come in contact with. That is the purpose of this consciousness. That is the purpose of each of these souls. And our purposes become more and more clear as we continue to clear the junk and purge out old, outdated codes, all outdated programming. If that can be deactivated and archived, put into the archives. Thank you very much. Now bringing into our consciousness as a collective, we bring into the consciousness all the upgrades, the programs, the ideas, the updated codes to step into this collective, brave and bold and willing and ready to be activated and to be bold and courageous and willing and ready to operate in the 3D world as their multidimensional selves. Bringing all of that in into our collective. All right, perfect. Well done. To all the multidimensional beings that are here and all the souls that are here, we give thanks for your time. We give thanks for the effort and the willingness to be part of a brand new change of our world. You are a small subset of humanity at this time. It is your mission to raise up humanity. Pull that thought, pull that idea, pull that intention into your heart. Put your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your right hand. Breathe that in. Continue to breathe in the energy of this collective that includes so many beings of light, each one of them connected to your inner being. Therefore, the knowledge and wisdom of this collective is now within your heart. Breathing in your heart, embodying that in, allowing every cell of your being to absorb the energy of this collective. It is now activated. It is now a living, breathing entity that is now into our collective. And we raise this energy up into a grid around our planet. This grid is above the collective grid. It is at a higher perspective than the collective grid. And as this collective, as part of this collective, each one of us holds space in our geographic location for this collective. We feed into this grid high vibrational thoughts, patterns, words, actions, intentions. Each one of us is willing and ready to be part of this change by activating and keeping this energetic grid healthy, whole, and complete, just as we hold ourselves as whole, healthy, and complete. That is this collective. That is what we are here to do. And we have an energetic, conscious grid in action now. Coming online, coming online, coming online, coming online. All activated. Oh, well done. Okay. You can open your eyes, come back into the moment. This beautiful breeze just picked up. It's the earth saying we are complete. That means drink plenty of water. Plenty of water. A couple things to finish up that I'm going to call them like more administrative things, but they're really not administrative, but they are things that you need to know. These activations are very powerful. They may sound like words and weird sounds, and you don't know what the heck's going on. However, every week will build on the last, and you don't necessarily have to do them in order, but they will keep building, meaning they will build frequency in you. As you build frequency, you are going to have to purge the denser frequencies that you have been living with. So as you activate, transformation is increasing your frequency. Transformation is going to happen from these activations, which means drinking lots of water to anchor in the new frequencies and also purge out the denser, older frequencies that we've purged from your field, right? Imagine it's all dropping out of your field. Okay. So that could be uncomfortable. It might be, physical purging. It could be emotional purging and finally taking care of the emotions that, that you kind of haven't wanted to take care of, or maybe you didn't even know they were there. How this will work in your physical world is there will be adjustments needed in your physical world, in your lifestyle. We're going to be kind of breaking that down even more so. So there are things that will happen in really elevated ways, and then it's going to feel like a little bit of chaos is going on as well as you go through the transformational stages and do the purging piece. This is where the integration of the activations is really important. I do have something put together called the U Collective, and it is the integration space for these weekly activations. I just got a text that came through. The weekly activations are simply activations. You can leave here and go on about your day and do your thing. However, because of the quantum nature of these activations, they're quite intense and they aren't for the faint of heart. Even those of us who have many tools and we do meditate, there is still part of us that needs a circle to come together and know that we are not alone, be able to navigate our transformation in a safe space, also increase our knowledge and through our sharing with our experiences, we increase our knowledge because we start to take each of our perspectives and put it together into a whole. So we have a broader perspective. So an integration group is extremely, extremely recommended. I do have one, the U Collective, and that is where we are going to take the activation from today and really break it down throughout the week and to unpack it a little bit. So this week we're going to spend really unpacking some of the verbiage that is used, dimensions. What does it mean to be multidimensional? What does it mean, the frequencies? What are we really talking about as far as frequencies? How is that measured? So we're kind of going to get into the knowledge part of it, but it's all when the mind understands what we're doing, it then lets go of any resistance. So it opens up the mind more for these activations to be clearer and even more potent for you. We also, the U Collective is on a platform called the Ascension Network. That is a co-creative space that I am involved in, and it's developing into something pretty magical. The way that I'll explain it at this point is, if you would imagine kind of like an online healing space, and you come in, and in this healing space we have gatherings that are I'm going to call them free in the 3D world. However, the exchange that you give by being part of the Ascension Network is your vulnerability, because this isn't just somewhere where you come in and just we have small talk. We come in, we gather several days during the week. We have different gatherings and we go deep. Whoever shows up is who we go deep with. And you will grow. You will integrate these new energies. You will be forced to look at some of the darkness. But you've got to bring your full vulnerable self. You have access to that for free in the U Collective and all the other events that we have going on in the Ascension Network. And directly in the space of the U Collective is kind of a room in the healing center, and that is where we continue the discussions that we're having here on Sunday, Sunrise Sundays. So you can learn more about that. Hi babe, my dog just showed up. I do have more information on that. I will have it on the link on this page, and you can come and join. I highly recommend it. You get 4 weeks of activations, 4 weeks of integrations as well for $22 a month. So you have 4 weeks worth for $20. Think of it as an exchange for, you go to church, you put some money in the donation. Just think of it as a donation towards helping you integrate more so into what is being activated on these Sundays. I know it's been a lot today. We've covered a lot. We've done, that activation was quite powerful because I'm feeling very drained from it, which means that it was a lot of energy coming through. So don't misunderstand if it didn't, or what's the word? Don't misinterpret the ease of what you just experienced, because what we were doing in the quantum was very potent. So you will feel it. You might feel tired, drink lots of water, take a nap, self-care today. That's going to be the name of the game for the next few Sundays. And then in the U Collective, we're going to get down and dirty into shedding all that comes up from these activations and anchoring in all that you rise into because of these activations. I'm really excited to be on this journey with you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. If you know another soul that would love to participate, please share it. They can watch it. The recordings on YouTube, live in the Ascension Network, and also we will email it to you if you're on our email list. Okay. Thank you for being here, sweet souls. This is a sacred journey for me. And the fact that you are here is extremely, extremely sacred and appreciated. Thank you. Mwah.